right, let's start with the mail.
Let me just say before we get
Go
to the
ahead.
mail, I'm glad we got Jimmy G. All right.
Right. Next is from Chris Karcher. First is from Chris Karcher. Subject is gambling on wrestling. Anyway, my brother-in-law wrestled in the WrestleMania 30 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and about 2 hours before the match, shot me a text saying Cesaro was going to win. After scrambling for 2 hours, sadly we weren't able to find any overseas odds on Cesaro, as he was the prize entrant. Even the odds of Undertaker winning that year were minus 1,700. The year he lost to Brock. Do you think that locking bets 3 days in advance of an event could make betting on wrestling plausible, or make the max bet for a 50-50 match $100, while Royal Rumble with long shot entrants would only be $25? I think this would be a disaster one way or another, but at the end of the day, it'd be great for way for sportsbooks to acquire new nerd customers who don't follow sports if it were properly regulated. What do you think?
That's interesting there right away, Di. Why couldn't they just lock the bets 2 or 3 days before, so that way people can't be getting last minute hints or tips or spoilers?
People usually don't want it because the betting public is like, you want to bet on the event the day of.
As it's going on too.
Yeah, like the show's on and stuff. They want betting options. Like it's a good but bro, I don't understand why they just don't follow the model of what they've been doing overseas. I mean, you can bet on these stuff on overseas sites. So what would you have to change? I don't get this. Like, they're making it sound more complicated than it is. Just make it a very small amount you could bet, like $50 or $100 per fight or whatever it is, and just you just bet. And like, so what if there's going to be some people that know the results, but you're going to have a lot of people that do not know the results of that, just like to bet on wrestling. You know, so I don't know. It seems weird. It seems weird that they're making it so difficult when it's already taking place overseas. So I don't know.
Conan, would you solicit any betting spoilers to bet on wrestling and make money?
No. I would just do it myself. If I knew what was going to win, I wouldn't tell everybody.
Yeah.
Next is from Mitch Polachek, and the subject is Ja Morant League Club. Disco, I'm sure you've seen the pic with Morant with the dancer and 50K all over the room. You work at a club. How or why did this picture video get leaked? Don't the patrons have a right to privacy, or is there some disclaimer at the door? I can't imagine this ever happened to Sapphire. This seems bad for business, and if I'm Morant, I'm suing the pants off the club, pun intended. You got the photo, Joe?
Yep.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question, Disco. When guys go into the, what is it called in Sapphire, the champagne room or the private room, or VIP room?
Yeah.
Can you videotape when you're in there?
No. There's you're not supposed to record at the club, period.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So anybody recording anything is doing it illegally.
All right.
And this actually looks like, do you have this picture, Joe?
It's up.
Okay. I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you this picture looks like it was a photo taken of the security camera.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is probably somebody that works in the club that probably leaked this for money.
Right.
So that person should definitely be fired and maybe even like sued. You know.
Right.
Yeah, but you could we have the cameras. We have cameras watching us watching the cameras. So we're not taking pictures of people and stuff, everything, and like trying to find them in compromised positions like famous people and stuff, you know. But you cannot take pictures in the club.
If people are constantly
repeatedly throughout the night, you know.
Yeah.
So.
People are constantly using their phones though, and either looking at news or scores or taking
nothing you can do.
How often do you? Yeah. How often?
I don't. If you assume somebody's taking pictures, we go over to the guest and say, "Hey, can we see your phone?" And we make them delete the pictures.
Okay.
Right.
You know. So.
Now, have you ever had a case where a very famous person came in, or somebody with a lot of money and was just doing whatever the they wanted, and you had to get rid of them? No. Okay. Let me just answer this question, because the guy says something like, you know, okay.
Let me read it again.
Yeah.
Don't the How is this picture? You can't. This seems really bad for business. If I'm Morant, I'm suing the pants off the club, pun intended.
Okay, so let me just say this, even though he didn't ask it, because there was a video of him with that little gun, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And that's Morant's fault, because he was actually live streaming.
Mm-hmm. That was his fault, yeah.
So, you know, when you're like a superstar in music, wrestling, sports, and we've seen it over and over, Antonio Brown, Pac-Man Jones, a young early Justin Bieber, everyone is putting you over, inviting you to parties. You got groupies, side chicks, money. you got drugs, you got fame. It's all a facade, and you think laws don't apply to you, because I actually went through that phase in Mexico, and because you're treated differently everywhere. But to me, Morant is the fault, but also his team is the fault, because they should protect him from all of this. One of them should have had that gun. And why are you carrying a gun anyways? Why are you going to a strip club when you know that you could, be held up by other guys? But I put the blame on him, but more on his handlers, because, bro, if John Morant goes down, that whole entourage and all the perks you get, you go down too.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you've said it before too, Conan, during the time period where you say you let like your fame and stuff go to your head, what's the most like thing you can remember yourself doing? Whether it was like skipping a line or, you know what I'm saying? Like just a celebrity type move.
I did whatever the fuck I wanted
Yeah.
to do, bro.
Yeah.
I did exactly whatever I wanted to do. And
That's
so
great.
that's just it. Nobody stopped me because I was
Yeah.
famous, I was rich, and I didn't give a fuck. So, people wanted to meet me, people wanted to be around me, people wanted to take pictures with me, people wanted to let me in free everywhere. So I took advantage of it like anybody else would.
Exactly.
All right, so next is
Hank Beanie, I think.
Here we go. Next is from Hank Beanie, the subject is referees. Hey guys, in my previous email, Disco pronounced Joan Sebastian as Juan Sebastian. Put some respect on his name, Disco. Even his horses were over in Mexico. I want to ask how the referees help the wrestlers during a match. When you wrestle live on TV, I'm sure the adrenaline running through you is easy to lose track of time. How often will referees give you time updates during the match, and would they give any other feedback for the back as well? Also, live with promos when you had the mic by yourself, how would you keep from talking too long? Seems like conversation terrorists may have struggled in this regard. Thank you, Handsome Hank. Handsome Hank, we're going to suspend you for a week, too, for these derogatory comments.
I like that.
All right. The referees, you're usually telling the referee before the match and telling the truck that I want to count down at like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. You just don't. And the referee will tell you when you hit your time marks. Okay. And they'll also, if there's something happens, they'll say go home early or so. They definitely relay stuff to you.
Right.
So yeah, but I mean,
they're basically what they're giving you is time cues. Are you hurt or wrap it up? Those are like the three main things.
Right.
Like in Mexico, what I do is I'm in the gorilla position. So if I have if the match is 10 minutes, I'll tell the referee at the 5-minute mark, tell everybody in the ring, not just one person, tell everybody there's 5 minutes left. Then when there's 2 minutes left, and that's just a point of reference, that means you've got 2 minutes. You can go over another minute if you need it. Tell everybody there's 2 minutes left, and stuff like work the crowd or is he hurt, like that. But like talking about Disco being a conversation terrorist, he couldn't be one because he knew that he would get heat if he went over. Plus, when you're out there, and if you go long, there's a producer going like this, which means wrap it up. That's why a lot of times you'll hear wrestlers say, "Don't tell me to wrap it up," because there's a producer telling him to wrap it up. And only stars get away with that, by the way.
I've seen this happen watching old WCW shows and stuff where occasionally the music guy would rap you before you were done. And I remember actually seeing that specifically happen with you, Conan, where you actually had to tell him to shut off the music so you could do the catchphrase. Did that happen often where the music guy jumped the gun?
Not often.
Yeah.
Next is from Giant Farouk. Subject is future. For WrestleMania, we're getting the surefire banger of Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. It's going to be awesome. My question for you guys is, though, what did you see in Drew's future with WWE? You think he's a great wrestler, but that's not enough to be a top guy? Would you maybe turn him heel? I mean, based on all of Billy's info, we know that Drew is a source. It seems like Drew has a lot of legit anger with some stuff going on in WWE that could lead to some really cool shoot promos against Cody. What do you guys think? Oh, and Conan, please spend a lot of time in the Hall of Fame getting Disco heat with the toughest dudes there. Say he was trash talking, etc. Oh, we're gonna suspend Giant Farouk for that too. That's trying to sow dissent.
Trying to have you physically attacked. Yeah.
Now Drew's in a good spot. He's always at the top of the card. He's fighting for the Intercontinental title. He's fun. He's always he's in a prominent position.
Right.
Just because you're not the champ, if you're not the champion,
exactly.
It's like
that's
you're not really lower in the card than Drew.
That's a very good point. You can only be one champion. So what? Everybody else is irrelevant. As long as you're in a good storyline. Plus, here's the thing with Drew, and I think he's got all the goods to be a champion. I think they should have given him the championship when he was in England. But I think now that Cody's there, they'd give. I think they would give the belt to Cody, Lashley, Brock, or even Sammy before they gave it to him. But he doesn't have to be a champion. You know, if he did turn heel, that would be massive because the best heels are the guys that were over as baby faces.
He just came out with that sword and chopped Cody's head off right there live on TV.
Angela.
Over the top.
Yeah. That's
I know. I think that guy had a good idea though in the email. If Cody wins the belt, make Drew one of his first couple of feuds and have him do exactly that. Say, you came in and stole my spot, Golden Boy, and all that.